by fans, for fans, the Hog Style. And now, here's your host, Sean Conti.
Welcome back to the Hogsty, your number one location for the Redskins 2020 season and the rest of the 19 season here as well. Another week's gone by and we have more hires out of Carolina, more hired names from the Redskins past, etc., all the while with the NFL playoffs in full swing. So, we're going to talk about all of that. My name's Sean Conti and I got Steve, Thomas, and Alex Zeese here with me tonight. How the heck you guys doing?
I did something really wonderful today.
Uh-oh.
I ordered my Houston Asterix T-shirt today.
Nice.
What?
Nice.
Which I will proudly wear around the city of Houston. That is in relation to the Houston Astros stealing the 2017 World Series from my Dodgers because they cheated. And that's why. And so I figured, I'm in Houston, I got to have one of these shirts.
Oh yeah.
So I broke my own rule and ordered something online like I normally don't because I had to have this T-shirt. And and I was because it's. I mean, now we know why Clayton Kershaw looked so bad in Houston during that game. Now we know why Kenley Jansen blew the game. Now we know why you Darvish looked bad. It's because the Astros cheated. And so I'm going to wear that shirt like every day for the next 2 years.
You're the most popular guy down there in town, aren't you?
I've already been accosted in like the grocery store. I wore my like about 6 months ago. I was in the local grocery store down here. Do you guys have Kroger on the East Coast?
No. I know
okay.
Kroger.
Well, I'm in Kroger, and I'm wearing my 2017 Dodgers World Series T-shirt, which doesn't say they won. It's like it was just I ordered this shirt, and some guy comes up to me and he's like, you can't wear that around here. And I was like, what are you talking about, dude? First of all, don't come at me like that because I'm rude enough to come back at you. And so I was like, look, your team won.
Yeah.
What do you care what I wear?
Yeah.
Go away. And
Right.
he kind of looked at me like, how dare you talk to me like that? So, well, buddy. You're lucky I didn't deck you. So I'm still mad about that. And now I'm more mad.
I told you that we did a white elephant for my in-laws' family when I was down there for Christmas.
No.
So it was white elephant. My little gift that I put in for white elephant, Nats World Series shirt for all of them.
I might have literally burned it, Alex.
Oh, I'm sure that my brother-in-law has burned it since he picked it.
But now that I know the Astros are cheaters, I'm wearing my Houston Asterix shirt every single day.
Oh,
for the next year.
That's a great shirt. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Thank you, Barstool, for coming up with that.
Is it a little asterisk with an H that's like orange?
It's like a reasonable facsimile of the Houston Astros logo. They can't use a logo because
but it's an asterisk instead of a star, right?
It's an asterisk instead of the Houston
symbol. Perfect.
Yeah, it looks a lot. If you didn't notice, you would just think it's an Astros shirt until you took a second look at it.
Excellent.
Yeah, I want a Patriots asterisk shirt. The only experience I have with something like that, Steve, I was down in Arizona. I went down to Vegas and Arizona for my 30th birthday, and I was down on like this open park area, and I was wearing a Redskins hat. I heard someone say, it was a woman in a car. I think this is what she said. You have to be a real scumbag to wear something like that. I think that's what she said. Yeah, it wasn't really clear at the time, and she kind of looked away. I looked back, and she kind of looked away. But that's the only time I've ever worn like a sports, outfit or shirt or hat or something, and have somebody, really be negative about it.
I think she was actually hitting on you in some way.
Yeah, well, it didn't work.
You went missing for like 2 months there.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that I think you're referring to is when I moved across the country, which is a little bit more understandable.
Well, the other time it's like you disappeared was last year, and I finally got you on the phone, and you were like in like a bus.
Yeah, you took like a weird bus trip to Arizona.
Yeah.
That was my 30th.
Right.
That was the 30th trip to
there,
Vegas
dude.
and Arizona. Yeah.
And you're on a bus in Nevada. It's like, oh my God. Hi, Sean.
Good to hear from you, I guess. Enjoy
Doing a
Nevada.
little Hunter S. Thompson impersonation is what you were doing.
Oh, man, that would have been a very different trip, I'll tell you. But a more fun one. Anyways, we do actually have some things going on in the Redskins world this week.
Do we?
What's that?
Do we?
Yeah, we got some stuff. I mean, not exactly the most incredible names, the blockbuster names that got hired this week, but we do have some new pickups in terms of the Skins administration, so maybe we can just start there. So, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, every day that passes, we become more and more closer to the the Washington Panther skins.
Right.
How is this striking you with more and more guys coming from Carolina there?
I'm totally fine with it. First of all, let's just go over this in case you guys haven't heard. So Doug Williams is out.
Well, he got moved to the
Will you let me finish?
Oh, you said out.
He's out of his job as the senior vice president of player personnel. He's moved over to player development, which means, he's dealing with their problems and counseling and, education, all that stuff. And so in his place is one Kyle Smith. Kyle Smith, of course, started with the Redskins as an intern, and now he's moved up to the player personnel job. In case anybody's wondering, because we've had a bunch of questions about this, so how a normal football team is organized is team president, GM, and then the GM runs all things football, underneath which one of the offices is the player personnel office, which runs the college or pro scouting rooms. That's what Kyle Smith is doing, running the college or pro scouting rooms. We don't have a GM. It's sort of de facto Ron Rivera right now. So there's that. And then the other move that happened was Eric Schaefer's out, Rob Rogers is in, and he's one of the, as Sean said, the Washington Panther skins guys. Yep. Same job in Carolina. He's up here now. In terms of that, so he's the cap guy basically now. I mean, look, I could do the cap job, okay? It doesn't – I mean Eric Schaefer was good. He had a great reputation. He's not the only one who can do it. I'm sure Rob Rogers will be fine.
It's. I mean, we just say it's a cap job, but it is also the negotiations of, but back and forth with the agents. That's a big part of it too.
Yeah, but also people need to understand that the contract's a form contract, so really the only negotiation is just
numbers.
The numbers.
Yeah.
This Kyle Smith character is the son or grandson, or no, son
of AJ Smith.
AJ Smith.
Right.
Who, besides being a former executive for the Redskins, was an executive for the GM for the Chargers, and executive for the Bills as well, I believe, during very good eras of those two teams. So it's it's another one of those things, just like the Scott Turner thing, where we're reaching back into a name from the past, kind of. But wow, the pedigree here seems really good. So
it's like you can't. First of all, AJ Smith's the guy who ruined the Chargers, not really helped the Chargers, but. The NFL's a really
5 AFC West division titles while he was there.
Yeah, but he's the one that got crosswise with North Turner, and there was a lot of
Wasn't
drama.
he also the one that got rid of Marty at one point?
Yes, I believe so. The NFL's a real incestuous thing. If anybody notices this. We've got Scott Turner. We'll get to this. We've got Scott Turner as an OC. Well, he's the son of Norv Turner, and now we've got Kyle Smith, who's the son of A.J. Smith, and, we've got somebody named Vincent Rivera as a quality control assistant on the team, and he's probably related to Ron Rivera. I mean, you can't, drop the soap in the NFL without stumbling across somebody who's, that's probably a bad analogy, but...
I'll think about the Shanahans. I mean, we see it all the time. Yeah. It's, father-son teams, grandfather-grandsons. Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time.
I mean, I went back and looked at every coach we've had since Snyder's been here. Only one has not hired a son or brother or some other.
Who is that?
Jim Zorn. And that's only because his son was like 10. Yeah.
And Jim Zorn didn't have the clout. Jim Zorn was lucky they let him in the building.
Well, but you know what? If his son had been old enough, I'm sure they would have let him be the TV intern like they did for Jay.
And Jim would have ruined his son's career, too.
Probably. But I'm just saying, that's how bad it is. Even the Redskins, every coach has hired their son at some point.
Alex, isn't Jimmy now a coach in the XFL?
Yeah, he's coaching Seattle in the XFL.
That's my team, right?
Yeah, we said that's your team because they have a guy from...
Somebody from my alma mater.
Gotcha. I was wondering why you were asking Alex what your team was.
Because I think one of the shows when you were out, we went over this, and Alex pointed out that there was a player on the Seattle team that went to one of my alma maters, and I was like, okay, that's my team, and I forgot who my team was.
Right.
Until just now.
They'll be playing
another team
the
with
DC Defenders in February, first game. So
do you already have your season tickets?
I didn't get season tickets, just opening game ticket. They're trying to upsell me on season tickets. They called me today to be like, do you sure you just want to go one game?
Yes,
I'm
sure.
Is their waiting list longer than the Redskins' waiting list? For
As in, neither team has one?
If there is a waiting list, it by very definition is longer.
Yeah, true. Okay, so it sounds like you guys are pretty much okay with this. It's you're okay with the Kyle Smith thing. You're not so worried about Scott Turner.
I don't
this is
care
okay
about
with you
the
guys?
Carolina Panther skins thing. I mean, look, they brought a new guy. This is what we all wanted.
Right.
Just can't believe people complain about this. What we wanted is for Dan Snyder, to grab a pair, fire everybody, burn the place to the ground, and start over. I wrote many columns about this, and now that it's happened, people are now complaining that there's too many Carolina Panthers. So, well, guess what? What was Ron Rivera going to do? He was going to bring his guys with him. He's been in Carolina for years. I mean,
It's
what
way
did you expect?
Exactly. It's too much to expect anyone to build from scratch
Well,
an
give him a
entire
chance.
staff.
Give
right.
him a chance.
And
Right. I
the
agree.
one guy front office wise that everyone wanted kept and maybe promoted was Kyle Smith, because he's the one guy everyone heard was a genius and he's going to be the next great GM anyway.
And truthfully, none of us know.
No, we don't. We're going
Kyle
on the
Smith
word
may be
people.
Yeah, Kyle Smith may be a bumbling idiot for all we know. I mean, we don't know the man at all. We've never talked to him. We don't know how really and truly he was making the decisions on the scouting reports. I'm sure, I don't mean to bash Kyle Smith, but I mean, my point is, none of us fans know anything about how good these scouting guys really are.
But beat writers who are around the team every day have always praised him.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and by
that's
the
a
way,
good thing.
speaking of that, we did get a new director of college scouting too, whose name I
Tim
can't remember
Gribble.
right now. Yeah,
Yes.
there you go. And
Brother
so,
of Dale
there's gonna
Gribble
be-
from King of the Hill.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But there's going to be more changes coming.
Yeah.
For those of you
absolutely.
wondering about the GM situation, if they bring one in, it'll be after the draft.
I mean, I'll be honest. I won't be surprised if they just promote from within and say, "All right, Kyle, you're now the GM after the draft."
Wouldn't surprise me if they don't just call Ron Rivera the president of football operations or something.
Yeah, that might happen too.
I could see that.
We
too.
know they just
yep,
hate
I
having a GM. They really do.
Yeah, Dan Snyder must, have been offended, must have gotten beaten up by somebody with the initials G and M when he was in like 8th grade or
Or
something.
maybe Charlie Casserly beat him up when Charlie was here.
Charlie Casserly's CC though. That doesn't make any sense. It's got to be like George Martin or Jeff, Jeff Merkel or
And
something.
Jeff with a G, Never trusted Jeff
yeah.
with a G.
No.
Well, this other rumor, obviously, that has been happening this week, and I'd love to get your guys' take on this, is this whole Chris Cooley thing. So he has made for years it very clear that he'd love to return to the Redskins in some kind of coaching or leadership capacity. Rumors are starting to circulate that might be happening now. I'm only assuming that means tight end coach or something like that, but how do these rumors strike you guys?
I mean, okay. Again, I don't really care. First of all, the rumor was offensive quality control.
Right.
That's the rumor, not tight ends. There is
Offensive
a
quality
proposed
control.
tight ends coach. Supposedly, according to John Keim here, is somebody named Pete Honer. Don't know anything about him. Haven't researched him yet.
That's just rumored too, though. Now we don't not official
Keim-
yet, or is it official?
Well, it's not official, meaning the Redskins have not announced this.
But
Keim
Keim's
is
got
saying
this
it's
view.
official.
Got
So
it.
I don't know what that means, but we haven't gotten any press release about it. But in terms of Cooley, I mean, I don't think it's going to make a big difference to the team to have him on the team. He seems to be very good, in his Cooley breakdowns and all that stuff.
They're
He's great
smart.
He's
He
great
seems-
in the booth.
yeah. Yep.
I mean, he might help, but I don't know. I mean, it's another one. It's like whatever Ron wants, I'm down with for now, at least.
Sure. My thought would be, I get why you might want to go into the coaching or into the front office, but you could be in the booth for 50 years if you're Chris Cooley. I mean, because look at Sam and Sonny. They lasted until their 80s. And Cooley's only
Yeah,
40,
no kidding.
if even. I think he's only a year older
even,
than
yeah.
me. So
Yeah,
he
probably.
could do another 40-year run in the booth, and that's a steady paycheck.
Whereas Ron staff is going to get fired someday because every coach gets fired, or most coaches get fired. At
Best
least.
case, you're a coach for 10 years here, and then you got to find something
If
else.
he becomes Joe Gibbs, the next Joe Gibbs for the Redskins. Even Joe was only here for
decade.
12
Yeah.
years. Yeah, 81 through 92. So I mean, what is that?
11 years, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's the best case scenario. Like Bill Belichick has been there 20 years. Which is like the longest ever, probably. So I agree with you. If I were Cooley, unless he just has to be on a sideline,
That's
for
the
his own
thing.
well-being. I mean, fine, but
You got to imagine he's still got that that competitive spark and spirit. He wants to be involved with the team. He wants to get a ring in some way, shape, or form. I think Alex is speaking to the rational decision, and he's probably speaking more to what his heart's telling him to do.
Okay,
get back in there.
Cooley should go coach the defenders or something. Go do it in the fall.
But Cooley has made it abundantly clear that he is a Redskins.
I know.
He's made that. Remember, because one of the times we had Doc Walker on the show was back when Cooley was trying to come back, and Doc told us, Cooley can't make it. Which I really so appreciated how honest Doc was. Yeah. But clearly, Chris Cooley wanted to be a Redskin.
He was a DC for life guy. I get it.
Yeah. Personally, I'm with you, Alex. I would stay in the booth. He's around the team. He's going to get a ring. They're going to give him a ring if he's in the booth.
If he's in the booth and alive.
Yeah. Listen, I have had on my finger a San Antonio Spurs ring one time because I ran into the team photographer because I saw the ring. He was wearing the ring. I was like, "How'd you get a ring? Did you buy it at a pawn shop or what?" He was like, "No, he was the team photographer." Right. So if the team photographer gets a ring, surely the announcers
they do. And I know this because I know some people who have worked for teams and gotten rings, and they were like ticket sales. So
yeah, they're not like the diamond encrusted
rings.
No. That the players
it's a different ring for front office people, unless you're like the GM.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if Dan ever wins a ring, he's going to build himself like a crown. He can wear his head and be a ring
and a monocle.
Yeah, exactly, a diamond encrusted monocle. Look it up, folks, if you don't know what a monocle is.
Monopoly guy.
Yeah. All right, well, let's. I'm sure there's going to be tons of movement still to go on coaching stuff, hires. Anything else you guys want to throw out there about new hires, Panther skins, Cooley, whatever, before we move on to our next topic?
I'm not. Did we mention Richard Rodgers?
Yeah, we did briefly.
Ron Rodgers.
We know Richard Rodgers.
I'm reading the wrong name. Richard Rodgers is the assistant DB coach. What I meant was Ron Rodgers, which we did talk about. Right. We could read this list of names, but there's nothing much to say because you would recognize names Sam Mills, defensive line coach. You would probably recognize Steve Russ, who's the linebackers coach, who's the linebacker with the Denver Broncos. Other than that, I don't have anything to say about these guys yet. We will eventually.
The one thing that actually does concern me a little is, Scott Turner. I guess you can say he's named just because of who his dad is, but the fact that this offensive staff seems relatively unknown to me, like that there's no Bill Callahan type. There's no seasoned veteran, oh yeah, we've heard that name for 30 years coaching wide receivers.
Not only that, but this is Turner's first real shot at it. I have researched Turner because spoiler alert, I'm working on a coaching hire column which will come out at some point whenever I finish it. And Turner was the OC in Carolina for a month.
Right. They didn't do well.
And that was. No, it was in the middle of the year, and after Rivera got he wasn't going to do well. But point is, he's only done it for a month. That was the only time he's ever been an OC. So this is his first shot at it. So it could fail spectacularly, or who knows. But it's a bit of a risk because Rivera himself is a defensive guy. Right. So Alex said, who's the offensive genius? I don't know. Turner, I guess.
And I think you always need a mix of young, new guys bringing in new ideas and grizzled, old, hardened, I don't believe in doing anything but running the ball 50 times into the wall.
That's called the Bill Callahan.
Right. You need a Bill Callahan, but you need to balance him out with a Kyle Shanahan or something.
Well, another incest name on this staff is Ken Zampese. He's the quarterback's coach.
That's true. He's there.
He's the son of Ernie Zampese, so Ken may be the offensive guru on the team. Who knows?
And there's the whole weird Zampese-Turner family.
Yeah, there's a lot of cross mixing.
It's like a DNA strand. They just mix together.
It's like trying to figure out the family tree from somebody from Alabama.
Oh, God.
I didn't say it. For anybody of Alabama out there who I offended, I'm sorry.
They're not listening. They don't have computers yet.
I'm not really that sorry, actually. It's just a joke.
Yes.
You guys are destroying my friendship with my friend Alan, who lives in Alabama and does listen to this show. True story.
Hold on. So he's Alabama?
In the words of my new hero, Ricky Gervais, it's just jokes, people.
Yeah, we're all dying soon, and there's no sequel. That was a damn good line. Damn good line. Okay, let's put the new hires away. Move on to a new topic. I know Steve is really excited about this prospect of drafting Joe Burrow, so I wanted to give you the platform now to just tell the world how excited you are about the draft and drafting a quarterback.
Oh, God.
Let's hear it.
I just don't understand some of you out there. And Alex has informed me that some of these people are joking when they say they're drafting Joe Burrows. And Alex also knows that I have no ability to tell the difference between sarcasm and reality. But some of you are serious, okay? Some of you seriously want to draft Joe Burrow on the basis of you watching a couple LSU games this season and drunkenly watching the Clemson LSU game that was Monday night. The Redskins are never, ever going to do that. Number one, trading Dwayne Haskins would cost them cap space, okay? Number two, we have Dwayne Haskins. Why do you want to draft Joe Burrow? Am I the only one who doesn't see a whole zillion other things Redskins could do with that draft pick? It's absurd and ridiculous, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much right there with you, Steve. I will offer, I don't know, do you guys listen to Colin Cowherd at all? Very much?
Never since he bashed Sean Taylor years ago, no.
Years ago, yeah. I think he's hit or miss with me, but I think he did. I mean, he offered kind of a decent take on this. So here's what he's basically saying. Dwayne Haskins is the fourth best quarterback in the NFC East. Your success as a coach hinges on the abilities of your quarterback and the stability, of your ownership. So, in other words, Ron Rivera worked into a horrible situation by coming to the Redskins, and what he needs to do now is get the quarterback that's going to work best for him. That might not be Haskins. Again, as Cowherd was saying in this segment, Haskins is the fourth best guy in the NFC East. If Rivera wants to succeed, don't worry about it. Pick your guy and just get the guy that makes sense to you. So I pretty much agree with you, Steve. Agree with you on that point, but I think he makes a decent point as well. What's your take on that?
Well, I don't think Haskins is the fourth best quarterback in the NFC East, number one. People need to understand that Daniel Jones played 4 years at Duke. He was at Duke 4 years, started 3 years. Okay, Haskins is barely 21 years old, and he's got a better arm than Jones. I think he's smarter in terms of football smarts than Jones. Jones is a good quarterback, but I think ultimately Haskins' ceiling is higher. It's just going to take him more time. But I don't think I think Daniel Jones is mediocre.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I like that. So you actually take issue with his statement that Dwayne Haskins is the worst in our division.
I mean, I'll give you, Dak Prescott, and I'll give you Carson Wentz. Yeah. Carson Wentz can't stay on the field at all.
That's
Dak Prescott,
different issue altogether.
Dak Prescott got a lot better this year. Dak is the best quarterback in the NFC East, I think.
And Dak is about to make it seem a whole lot worse because he's going to get a huge contract. So,
which is a whole other story.
Right. So there's a lot of things to factor into that part. Now, here's what I will say in these people's defense. I think Joe Burrow looks like a legitimate future star in the NFL. He does.
People said that about Haskins too, though, and I don't know. Looking back, I don't know how true that necessarily was.
People said that about Johnny Manziel too.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a crapshoot. We know that, but if you're saying, does he have the arm? Yes. Does he look the part when you watch him play? Yes.
Look, I don't care if the dude is the second coming of Johnny Unitas. It's like the Redskins have their guy already. Unless Rivera truly hates, I don't mean personally, but truly hates him as a quarterback, that's one thing. But I doubt that's the case. I don't
think he would have come here if that was the case.
Yeah, Dan wouldn't have hired him. He wouldn't want to come here. Certainly, he probably wants to make Haskins prove himself, which he sort of alluded to in his opening remarks. But you're right, Alex. He wasn't going to come here if the first thing he wanted to do was dump the friend of Dan's son, Dwayne Haskins. That's not going to happen. And so I just think it's pointless, to have this discussion. It
is in the end. And here's I think the real thing. It doesn't matter anyway because I don't see any way that Cincinnati doesn't draft Burrow. So,
right.
I mean, it comes down to the debate we've had before, which is the Chase Young versus do you try and get a bunch of picks for number two.
Well, some people think that Cincinnati's going to draft, St. Chase, the patron saint of pass rushers,
right?
Which I think is ridiculous. I think you're right. I mean, Andy Dalton is your quarterback. I mean, Cincinnati's going to draft Burrow.
Yeah. The only other argument would be, what if Cincy decided to trade back themselves? Someone else gets Burrow. They could do
Either
that.
way.
But
Either way.
It doesn't impact us one way or the other.
No.
Okay, so backing up just a couple minutes, Steve, you said there's so many zillions of other ways to take this draft. So let's do a quick temperature check right now in the very early phases of the end of the season here. What are you thinking for that number 2 pick?
Everybody but me is dying for Chase Young. I think I've studied him a little bit. I'm finally getting into Chase Young. You know, he's got a wicked first step. He's a great pass rusher. I don't mean, you know, people throw around the generational label way too much, and they don't know what they're talking about. Probably worth a number 2 pick overall. I just think that there's other needs on the team. I think we've got a decent set of edge rushers. You know,
so what are you thinking, linebacker, corner?
I don't know if there's a linebacker worth the number 2 pick. I'm thinking the corner Okudah from Ohio State is worth a number 2 pick, and we could desperately need a number 1 corner on this team. I said that poorly. We desperately need a number 1 corner on this team. I think we need an offensive tackle, regardless of what happens to Trent Williams. You know, think about drafting Andrew Thomas, rather, even if you trade back a couple spots and grab him. You dump Morgan Moses on the curb, and you line up Thomas on the right side until Trent leaves, or vice versa. Maybe switch Trent to the right side because he's getting older. Either way, that would be a great pick. Those two would be a great pick, a much better need than Chase Young. And before anybody says it, listen, teams draft for need to some extent. Every team puts need into their draft board. They do not just draft straight up who's the best player, period. I just think we could do better than an edge rusher. That's all.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's fair. Alex, you got a take on that number 2 pick by any chance?
I'm going to go with the simple answer, and that is unless somebody offered, like if Miami came to us and said, we want the number 2 pick because we want Tua, here's our 4th, or not 4th, what do they have, the 5th pick? Something like that.
I can't remember.
They have like 5, and then they have 2 more. If they offered us all 3 first-rounders, okay, I'm taking that. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a deal you can't refuse.
You can't refuse that kind of haul. If they want to do that so they can get Tua or Hayward or even they might even want Young. I don't know who they'll want, but sure, I'll take that. But if it's not that, right now I just say go with Young. You know, I'm sure after the combine there will be some hot new name that comes up, and then the Redskins will have a harder decision. But right now everyone's saying Young looks like the top player in the draft, so just go with him.
Yeah, I like that. I think just the simple fact that so many people are pushing for Young makes me not want to do it because I just feel like we've been burned chasing these guys so many times in years past.
You become like Steve, you're becoming a contrarian.
It's so true. It's exactly right. Now, I do like the corner idea, although the thing is, it's just like it's really hard for me looking back at the season to assess how anyone was this year and really determine what the actual need is just because there were communication problems. There's clearly coaching overall, grand, big systemic problems for the team. So it's like almost like I don't really know who our greatest need is anymore. It's just really hard to assess this past year. You just had so many blown coverages and so many blown pass-offs, etc. So I don't know. I like both of your takes. I think defense makes a lot of sense. Edge rusher, corner, it's almost like we need anything and everything. So
well, first of all, the linebacker out there that's going to be the next hot name is Isaiah Simmons from Clemson. That's going to be the linebacker. But, I recognize my hypocrisy, by the way, because I'm the one that said since, training camp that I wasn't impressed with the defensive line, and here I am saying we don't need an edge rusher. Well, I don't think edge is the need. Frankly, it's been the interior that got beat. Like the edge, the pass rushing edge guy, Montez Sweat got better as the year went on. Right, your Ryan Kerrigan probably washed up, but they've got other guys who are pretty decent pass rushers. It's not that we can't use Young. We definitely could. I just think the asset can be used in a different way. And I'll tell you what, if we could trade that pick and get a second-round pick, even move back one spot to get a second-round pick, I would do it in a heartbeat. And I'm not worried also about the Giants getting Chase Young. I don't care. The dude is not, he's a good player, but you just can't worry about that. If you can get a second-round pick, do it. That's my view.
I think just a second would not be enough to me. Just
and the draft numbers wouldn't add up with that. I'm just meaning if you could somehow make a trade that includes getting a second round pick out of that, I would do it in a heartbeat and not look back.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So kind of hearing from both of you, let's get some value out of this number.
And by the way, I don't think
let's get the most value.
I think no matter which way you go with that, and it's going to be either a trade back or they pick Young. As of right now, it looks like either way, it's win-win.
Right.
I think.
Well, but
both will help.
Somebody's going to blow the combine away.
Sure.
Though.
Sure.
we'll
Someone always
see
does.
who it is. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we will obviously come back to draft stuff in future episodes, probably a bajillion times, so fear not. Let's talk quickly, because we have to talk playoffs, too, because there was some interesting games this past week. But let's talk first about Trent Williams. Because please, tell me, things are all peachy keen in his life right now, right? Things are going great and everything's awesome?
Well, yeah other than the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. What is it this time, Steve?
It's his pit bulls. Remember the story a few weeks ago about Trent's pit bulls tore up some poor little poodle or some other little dog that was next door? Well, those people, one Jerry Flowers and one Linda Flowers, have now sued him. And there's a 105-page petition, which I just pulled 10 minutes before we went on the air, so I really haven't read it. But they're, in essence, here alleging that Trent is running an illegal pit bull sales operation out of his backyard, and they allege that he had 11 pit bulls in this yard. They have attached photographs of his Instagram page where these dogs are being sold, allegedly, onto this thing. It was called SBG Bullies, which is, what did I say, guys?
I thought you said it was Pit Bull Bullies.
Silver Bully Gang. That's what it's apparently called. And they're asking for an injunction from the court, meaning they're asking the court to order him to stop doing this. The deed restrictions, which they have attached, and I haven't read, but the neighborhood deed restrictions apparently, according to the plaintiffs, say that you can't run a dog selling operation out of your backyard, and you can't have a dangerous breeds. That's what they're alleging. Again, I haven't really read. I didn't have time to really read it, but it's reasonable to me to think that a deed restrictions in a fancy neighborhood, which this is, would contain those restrictions. So that part is probably true. What we don't really know is the facts of what dog ate what dog, because Trent posted a photograph of his daughter's dog in the vet's office. So something happened to that dog too. We don't really know the facts, but frankly, I'm betting that if some dogs did wrong, it's probably the 11 pit bulls. That's just me.
Right. It sounds like what's not up for debate is the fact that there's a lot of dogs on the property, and there is some sort of official entity behind it, Silver Bully Gang or whatever it is. In some how official that is, unclear. But
it's probably not a real entity. It's probably just what he's calling his dog selling
Remember
thing.
when we did a show and didn't have anything?
Yeah, yesterday, you mean? Yeah, I remember that. No, look, why? This is my question. Why? Why, when you're a millionaire, do you need 11 pit bulls? Why, when you're a millionaire, do you need 11 pit bulls that are violent and going to attack other dogs? I'm not ready to say he's definitely breeding dogs, because I don't know, but just why so much smoke? Why is this happening? Clearly something's going on.
If anybody wants to link this to Trent specifically, the petition actually is wrong. The petition says it's called the Silver Bully Gang. Well, the printed out Instagram page, which is attached as an exhibit to the petition, which again I'm just looking at now, basically live on the air. It's called Silverback Bully Gang. So, what's Trent's nickname?
Silverback, of course.
Silverback. Yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah. So unless somebody else, there's another Silverback out there. This is Trent.
No, of course.
Okay.
It's him, and as to why, listen. All these NFL players have their little side hustles. Some of them have restaurants or bars.
Why does Trent Williams need a side hustle breeding dogs?
No, I don't. One, you don't. And I would just as a personal thing say to any NFL player, stay away from anything to do with pit bulls, because the Michael Vick thing is still in everyone's memory. I don't blame pit bulls. I think pit bulls are great dogs. I have plenty of friends who have pit bulls. They can be beautiful, loving dogs. If they're bred right, and they're trained right. It doesn't sound like these are trained right.
Maybe they are, and maybe all of this is this is just a petition, which is an allegation, and we don't know. But again, I'm kind of betting on
there's a dead
Mr.
dog
and Mrs.
involved.
Flowers.
That's not good.
Yeah, I'm betting on Mr. and Mrs. Flowers, not Trent. If I have to put money on the outcome of this thing.
Yeah.
I don't. And by the way, I did look up the house. I'm not going to give the address on the air, but I did research his house. I figured out where he lived. I scoped it out online, and it's a very nice neighborhood. This is not a house that's in the middle of the country. This is in a subdivision, a fancy subdivision. The petition says these dogs allegedly run all over the neighborhood, meaning they get out all the time, and the people are afraid of them. And that this incident was sort of the culmination of a lot of things that have happened. That's what Mr.
It's
and
not
Mrs.
good.
Flowers are
And
alleging.
even if you are breeding them, you shouldn't be doing it in that kind of neighborhood. You should be doing it out in the country. Like, that's where puppy mill type things are all done.
Yeah, go buy a plot of land out there. You're rich. You're very wealthy.
And there
you
is
can do it.
plenty of cheap land still out in the country.
Yeah. Or better yet, don't breed pit bulls if you're worth tens of millions of dollars. There's no need for it.
Yeah, there's not much more we can say about it that we haven't already, but there's a lot of dogs that need homes out there. You don't need to, especially if you're an NFL player worth millions of dollars, you don't need to be breeding 11 puppies and putting more of them out there. Hate to say it. I understand people consider it a hobby or a career or whatever, but not him, so
Unless
good
he's
luck,
doing
I
best
guess.
in show,
Sounds like an unfortunate
and we don't know
thing.
it.
I just can't. Yeah,
Maybe.
I don't think pit bulls.
I doubt it.
Pit bulls, I don't think are a recognized AKC breed. So
Aren't? They're
I don't
not?
think that
I didn't
they are.
know that.
No, it's like
Good question.
The something terrier.
Yeah,
anyway,
I know there's
don't
weird rules there.
Yeah. I just still can't believe that whoever wrote this petition missed the fact that it was called the Silverback Bully Gang.
Right.
That's kind of an important point.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Speaking on Trent Williams, while we're on the topic, how likely do you guys think, just throwing this out there, any of these moves, especially with the medical staff to the team, are to bring him back into the fold?
I mean,
what I've heard, by the way, is that Ron Rivera considers this Vermillion hire a key part of getting Williams back. So I don't know if we can believe that or not. But
I mean, we all heard what our newfound friend Robert Henson said, and I have no reason to doubt him. Henson said Trent hasn't spoke, but he could see him coming back. That's basically what Robert said, and it seems like it seems reasonable. The complaint was Bruce Allen, and the complaint was the training staff. They're both gone.
Yeah,
he has
the team
a
has done
contract.
what they. Yeah,
he has a contract that he's in breach of currently, or not currently, that he was in breach of. So if it were me, I'd come back. But that's
I mean, I think that I would say it's probably give me like 2-to-1 odds that he does come back at this point. I think they are going to probably have to sit down with him, work some kind of deal out, but like a 1-year extension. But
you give him some coupons to like the Pussycat Club or something.
Right.
Anything. Send some strippers to his house, something. But I think it helps the team to get him back. And so if I were Ron Rivera, I'd already been on the phone with him. Maybe he has. We don't know. Maybe he has.
I mean, they don't have to tell us.
You'd like to think.
So.
No, they probably wouldn't tell us.
Yeah. No, you'd like to think efforts are being made there. And if not, well, I guess better luck in the dog breeding, buddy.
I'd still draft the offensive tackle, though. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so long you can really let things linger without having an answer before you just say, I've got to make a move here.
Oh,
so I agree with you.
I think they need to be firm in telling him we need a resolution before free agency starts.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
because
fair.
like Morgan Moses was the perfect blend of very expensive and sucky last year, and injured and gotten a lot of penalties. I mean, Morgan. I mean, I don't. He came out of nowhere, relatively speaking, to become a decent starter, but he hadn't been a good starter.
No, he's been
for a
beaten up
while
for the last
now.
2 years and hasn't. It's destroyed
And
him.
that's okay if he's not making like $8 million a year. It'd be fine, but he
Right.
is, and that's not good.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts about those things before we switch to some playoff stuff? I figured we could spend the last 15 minutes or so talking about these incredible games that have happened over the last week or so. But let's get the Redskins stuff out of the way first. So
One. Terry McLaurin was named to the.
Rookie.
I saw
he was
that.
rookie, right? One of the all-rookie
Yeah.
teams.
Yeah. So congratulations to him. That's good.
yeah, I was perusing YouTube the other day and going through some of the biggest catches from this season, and I was pleasantly surprised to see McLaurin making many appearances on that.
Like that
highlight reel,
one-handed
so.
catch he
And the
had.
other,
Hello.
Well,
Good
the other
morning,
thing
Phil.
we didn't mention on the show from a couple weeks ago is that Trent Way was
Tressway.
named Tressway. Sorry, was named Pro Bowler.
Did we not talk about that?
And I don't think we mentioned. If we did, I don't remember talking about it. And he was named the second team All-Pro which he got screwed out of being first-team All-Pro. So congratulations to Tress. If we didn't say it before, I mean, I've slept since then. But if we didn't say it before, congratulations to Tress.
We've been singing his praises this entire season, saying he needs to make the Pro Bowl.
That's my fault.
So that is.
I just want him to send us. I still want him to send us a copy of his game. What was the game called? Anybody remember?
God.
What's your bid?
What's your
I
bid?
have a copy.
Nice.
I left it up at my summer house.
Nice memory.
Did he send it to us, or did you buy it? Oh, okay.
It's a good memory, Alex. Holy crap! I would not have remembered that off the top of my head.
We were kind of on the ground.
You bought it.
That,
I know.
He was on the show before it was even.
He was trying to raise money for it at that time, and well. By the way, did we talk about the All Pro stuff? Because remember we had that little weird argument you and I online, Steve, about how All Pros first and second teams made no sense because they had people in both.
Oh, yeah. We didn't talk about that on this show. What Alex is talking about is that they had more than 11 players named to the first-team All-Pro list. They had corners, safeties, and then defensive backs, which make less than no sense. It's just a way – it's like everybody gets a trophy thing.
But then they had
basically.
people who were – you were a corner, first-team All-Pro, and you were defensive back, second-team All-Pro.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous.
And then they created flex back, which is not a thing. Sorry.
And they had Christian McCaffrey twice. He was a flex back and he was a running back, I believe. It's like, whoever does those lists, name 22 people. Call them whatever position you want. Just do linebackers generally if you want. Right. Name edge rushers if you want. Call them all DBs if you want. But it can't be more than 11 people on offense, 11 on defense.
Right.
Yeah, see, I'm glad you guys care about this because I cannot gin up any passion about this topic at all.
The thing
it's not like there's any Redskins ever named to this list.
Right, exactly.
Matt Turk, I think that's our last Redskins who made first team.
I would just like to point out in the past, 2.5 decades, the only two people who've even sniffed an All-Pro list basically are the punters.
Yeah.
I think Trent was a second teamer one year, I believe.
He might have been.
Other than that, but there's not been a first team All Pro since Matt Turk.
Right, and then before that it was Darrell Green in 91 or 92.
Yeah. It's been a utter lack of respect from whoever it is that votes for the All Pro
I don't think
list.
It's a lack of respect. I think it's a lack of us having good players.
A lack of talent?
Yeah, a lack of ability.
Oh, yeah, that's probably a bigger factor.
Although, Darrell was a darn good corner up until even his last season. He probably could have made it again.
Darrell made that stupid NFL Network Top 100 player list thing that they've been doing. Have y'all seen this? NFL Network has been naming the top players in NFL history at each position. And they've nominated a whole bunch of names. Darrell Green was one of the finalists on the corner. He was named one of the 4 greatest corners in NFL history.
Wow.
Congratulations, Darrell, on that. They left Joe Jacoby off. That's what I wanted to talk about, Sean.
He's been snubbed again, yeah.
So the Hall of Fame. For people who haven't been following this was a big year in the Hall of Fame. They've named, 15 people? Old-timers. The class is really big this year. Even despite that, they left Joe off again. I don't know who has been disrespected more than Joe Jacoby when it comes to this Hall of Fame vote. So shame on the Hall of Fame for that. It just irritates me to no end. We've tried. We've done everything we could. And
they didn't even put him in the final round or the first or second round.
No, he didn't even make it. He didn't even make it to the final round, no.
Yeah, and we're talking about a guy who usually does.
And B. Mitch is the other one. I don't know why they're disrespecting B. Mitch. What is he, second in the NFL history in all-purpose yards to Jerry Rice? How is he doesn't get any love at all. Zero love. And B. Mitch has been on our show, and I wouldn't call him a friend of the show. We're not saying it because we've talked to him. B. Mitch deserves more of Pro Bowl or Hall of Fame love. Yeah.
Well, this is a topic we've talked about on the show many times, particularly in the context of the Jacoby stuff, but it seems like it's very political, and there's a window to get nominated or selected for it. If you pass your window, it's kind of over. It's very rare, and clearly it should be a better system to do this, because a lot of greats don't make it, it seems.
I just think you have to be loud and boisterous and in the media at all times, and the Hogs are the antithesis of that.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I think that's a great observation. Were you guys watching the Packers-Seahawks game the other day when Jimmy Johnson got the Hall of Fame nod on air? in the middle of the.
Yeah, I saw I caught that kind of out of the corner of my eye. Jimmy Johnson's been out there in the media for decades.
And exactly, it speaks to your point.
I will say, I mean, yeah, he probably deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And, he has 2 Super Bowl rings as coach. He probably deserves it. So,
I think yes. Does he have 2 or is it 3? Oh, Switzer got the last one.
So
yeah,
it's 2.
Okay. I don't know if Jimmy Johnson does belong in the Hall of Fame.
So?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to look at the other coaches. I mean, does 2 Super Bowl rings automatically get you in the Hall of Fame?
I mean,
I guess
there are
does.
guys with no Super Bowl rings in there. It's not always
if you're a Cowboy, it does. That's for sure. If you're a Cowboy, it does.
Shanahan make it? You think?
I think Shanahan ruined his reputation in Washington.
I've always said that. I've always had a weird thing about why coaches should get in. I've always said that if you don't do something that changes the game, then I don't think as a coach you really deserve it. Like Shanahan, I think he kind of mastered that zone run scheme thing. He deserves it for that. That changed football. So, but
I like that. That's a tough measuring stick,
But the pro football writer should be able to do that.
But if you have one criteria, if I could name one criteria for a Hall of Fame inclusion, it would be: did you change the game? It was exactly what Alex was saying. That applies across the board to me. Did you change the game? Did Joe Jacoby change the game? Yes, he absolutely did. He ushered in the new breed of big, fast, mobile left tackles.
He made left tackle the number one position on the line.
Joe Jacoby started that, gets 0 love. Shanahan, the zone run thing. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Joe Gibbs, who's a Hall of Famer, what did he do? He got to 4 Super Bowls with 4 different teams, 4 different quarterbacks, 4 different offensive
3
styles.
Quarterbacks.
3 different quarterbacks. It absolutely deserves it. Bill Belichick, all those deserves it. Changed the game. Did Jimmy Johnson change the game? I don't know if Jimmy Johnson did change the game. He won with a very popular team.
He kind of brought that 3-4 in from college and made it work in the NFL. That's probably it.
Is he really the originator
of that,
He
didn't invent the 3-4 or anything, no.
Oh, so we can thank him for this last
thank him for that cluster F.
Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks for that, buddy. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's political. It's a damn shame
is way
for
too
people
political.
that don't make it. Yeah.
I just more than anything, I'm upset that we didn't get to go to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Yeah. One day. Okay, well then let's spend a couple minutes talking about the playoffs, guys, because they're in full swing. My goodness, these past games, some surprises and some not surprises from this past week. So, should we talk with I think we were all pulling for Baltimore, so should we maybe just start there and talk about this incredibly disappointing Baltimore game? What's going on with Tennessee? Are they for real? Or
they're for real.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, they're on a roll, man. And
Patriot killers,
got,
Baltimore killers?
as averaging, 170 yards a game or something crazy like that. I mean, Derrick Henry's running over people.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And I don't think Lamar Jackson, cracked under pressure or anything like that. I just think he came across as juggernaut. That's on a roll.
Correct
and they
me if
him.
I'm wrong. Didn't Lamar have, close to 400 yards altogether? He had some ridiculous.
Yeah, but he didn't get it done.
No.
I mean, they didn't look. That's the point.
Think,
and that's what happened last time.
I think that there's a mentality thing where they thought, Tennessee's coming in. They don't have much of an offense because they really, other than a great running game right now, they don't. So I think they kind of came in sleepwalking a little, thinking they were going to a little dance and not into a boxing match.
Right. I'll tell you one thing, though, about Tennessee. If Tennessee makes a Super Bowl, I can't remember a team that has had a harder run. I can't remember another one off the top of my head who had to go through the Patriots, the number 1 seed, and then the number 2 seed to get to the Super Bowl. So that if they get there, what they've done is impressive already. But if they get there, their luck may run out, eventually. It probably will, but it's impressive. But in terms of back to the Ravens, I still believe in Lamar Jackson. Again, he ran across a juggernaut, a defensive-minded, hard-hitting coach. The
game got away from them right away, too, is the problem.
Yeah,
they fell back immediately, and his interception at the beginning of that game wasn't his fault.
I think no less of Jackson than I did before. They got beat.
Yeah,
it happens,
that one, what was it, a 45-yard pass that Tennessee put up, after a turnover or something like that?
Yeah.
As soon as that happened, I was like, this is not going to go well for Baltimore. You knew as soon as you saw that was like one of the most beautiful passes I've seen all year.
The game I want to talk about is the Texans.
Oh yeah, that was a hell.
Oh my god!
It's like, holy hell, what happened in that game?
You were retweeting some like dude who was like, I just made a $15,000 bet before the game or something like that. I think
no, I didn't. No,
that wasn't you.
Me. It might have been you or Jamal or somebody else.
Someone was tweeting that, and everyone's like giving this guy high fives when the Texans were up 21-0, and then like you watch that thread as oh no.
that wasn't me. It must have been Jamal if it came from our.
I don't know who it was. It might have not even been our Twitter. I might have been just glancing at stuff.
Maybe it was you, and you were too drunk.
I wasn't drunk though. That's the problem. I only had like one. I've only had like one beer a day the last few days. It's been weird.
But that game though, I mean, I wasn't that impressed with the Texans in the Bills game. I thought they won because they were facing the Bills more so than they really deserved to win. Yeah, I mean, and the Texans got they got lucky because in the beginning of the game because the Chiefs made a couple of mistakes that cost them 14 points basically. And then what we saw for 3 quarters was the real Kansas City Chiefs who put up 51 points in about 3.5 quarters, which is
what
impressive.
Was it 41 unanswered or something like that? 42.
Yeah, but something like that. Yeah.
Give the Texans some credit. I mean, they clearly came in with a huge chip on their shoulder, wanting to fight and prove that they had some gas in the tank. But yeah, I mean, there was only so much they were going to be able to do as that game.
I mean, the Texans have been historic underachievers.
Oh yeah.
They? I mean, they have a lot of talent. They just can never put it together. They've got J.J. Watt, who's probably the best. Certainly the best down lineman in the league. They've got a great quarterback. They've had a running game at times. They have DeAndre Hopkins, who's a top 5 wide receiver. They can never get it together, for some reason. I mean, in terms of the AFC, so now we're facing in the AFC Championship game, we are facing the Titans and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Coming up in Kansas City. I mean, to me, I just have to think it's hard to bet against Derrick Henry, but I have to think that at some point this role has got to come to an end.
Absolutely, man. I hate to be a downer to any Titans fans, but this is a flash in the pan year. I think you're getting hot at the right time. Chiefs are going to crush this game. I really would expect that. Might even look similar to the last Chiefs game.
See, I don't know if the Chiefs are going to crush it because when I look at the Chiefs' offense and I think about what the Ravens do, I know Lamar is more mobile, but there's a lot of parallels in like the bootlegging, the style of quarterback plays has some parallels. And that Titans defense is good. Like, I don't think that's going to be a blowout by any means. I think the Chiefs will win it, but I think it's going to be like a 7-point win.
I just think, generally speaking, teams eventually kind of come back down to earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and all credit, like I said, to the Titans, but at some point, I just don't think they're going to run off 4 games in a row of like amazing performances. At some point, somebody's going to figure out that if you stop Derrick Henry, that all of a sudden the Titans' options become a whole lot less. So if I'm the Chiefs, I'd put 8 men in the box.
Yeah,
8 men in the box. Stop Derrick Henry. Dare somebody named Ryan Tannehill to beat you. That's what I would do personally. Because go man on man. Go in cover one.
Sure.
With the Titans receivers, see what happens. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. Okay, let's talk about some of these NFC teams then. We saw the Vikings lose miserably to the 49ers. Any joy, you guys, just sitting this, drumming your fingers together, smiling like I was while you watched this?
All right, so you had Kirk, who I know all our fans seem to hate and all that.
Want to lose.
I got news for you. Kyle Shanahan hates the Redskins more than Kirk ever did. Like, Kyle Shanahan's your real nemesis. He's the emperor. I
think I might hate the Redskins more than Kyle Shanahan does, to be honest with you.
I mean, for me, I don't hate Kirk Cousins. He just kind of annoys me because I think he's kind of a D-bag about things, and he's just, I think he's a bit of a phony. So I don't root for him, But you're right, though, Alex. I mean, Kyle Shanahan freaking hates the Redskins. So I'm certainly not rooting for him either. I was rooting for the Seahawks, out of those 4 teams, and they're out of it now.
Me too.
In terms of that game, I think if there's anything the Vikings have gotten out of this, I say this is all as much objectivity as I can muster. They now know that Kirk Cousins was not worth a fully guaranteed $84 million contract.
Oh, sure.
They got this far with Case Keenum.
Yep.
When you have
That's a great
Adam
point.
Thielen, you have Adam Thielen and the best running back in football probably in Dalvin Cook. And who's the other guy? Help me, the other receiver. Thank you. Stephon Diggs. If you have those guys and you have a decent tight end on top of that, you can go a long way with a mediocre quarterback. And I think Kirk Cousins, when he was with Redskins, I thought he was ranked between 10 and 15, roughly.
Sure.
He's 10, 11, 12. He still is that.
Right.
I think what he's shown is that's what he is. He can win when he has talent around him. But when you need him to pull, yes, he got a great touchdown in the wild card game. Congratulations. But at the end of the day, he ain't going to take no team to the Super Bowl by himself.
Dude, they stuffed Dalvin Cook at the line in that game, and he had 20 yards or something, and Kirk Cousins did what Kirk Cousins does when he doesn't have a running game to support him, which was not look great, throw a couple interceptions, and generally just not get it done. So, yeah. 49ers, though, pretty... Oh, sorry, Alex.
I was going to say, one crazy thing, I was listening to, I don't remember if it was Grant or Danny or Chad Dukes on 106.7. They had somebody on from Minnesota, and they're talking like they have to extend Kirk Cousins still, which is hilarious to think that anyone would think that's a good plan.
Yeah, I don't know.
What did you get out of this? You got a very expensive contract. You got no farther in the playoffs than you did with the guy you had before him.
Yeah, it's kind of like they're in. I feel like they're probably feeling like we did with him a couple years ago, which is that damned if you do, damned if you don't. There's kind of a no-win situation here. They're overpay to keep him, or get rid of him, go back to square one. It's tough. This is a tough situation.
If you extend him, he's not going to take a pay cut.
Right.
If there's one thing we do know about Kirk Cousins is that he's all about the money, and so you're going to have to pay him more. And yes, the salary cap is going to go up between $8 and $10 million a year, probably. But still, at some point, if you have a $100 million quarterback, as we all know, you have to get rid of other people. So, can you keep Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs and Dalvin Cook
and keep that defense together?
And keep that defense together. If you're paying Kirk Cousins Fort Knox,
right? Yeah. It's the eternal debate with quarterbacks in this league, and it only gets worse every year.
It's like I'll call it the Joe Flacco effect.
Oh, my God,
Let's name it the Joe Flacco effect. Joe Flacco got signed to an insane contract.
Sam Bradford.
Yeah, well, Flacco's contract was worse because Bradford kept getting hurt and getting cut. But Flacco's contract was so awful they couldn't cut him, and he never lived up to it. He had 1 year where they won a Super Bowl, and they never lived up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well said. Okay, let's talk then quickly about the Packers and the Seahawks, as you just alluded to. So I'm just, I really don't want to talk about this game. I can't tell you. The Packers is just so exhausting to me to think about them every year. They do this comeback shit on purpose. I swear this is on purpose that they do this comeback in these games. But I don't know. What do you have to say? I really was like Steve. I was really pushing for Seattle in this one. I don't care if they knocked us out of the playoffs in 2012 and I went to that game. I don't care. Really wanted Aaron Rodgers to go home. Didn't happen.
Although now any self-respecting Redskins fan needs to be rooting for the Packers.
Yeah, I guess so.
You can't root for Kyle Shanahan as a Redskins fan.
Yeah, that's true.
That said, I think what we've seen, the 49ers have become what the Redskins, they've become Plato's ideal form. If you're familiar with this, the 49ers are Plato's ideal form of what the Redskins want to be.
Yeah.
Or at least the Bill Callahan Redskins. Who knows what Ron Rivera is going to do. Listen, they are really strong on defense. They are a serious mauling running team. And the game's going to be in San Francisco. The Packers have, the Packers have been weirdly inconsistent for having such a good record.
Yeah, this is a weird
if I had to put money on it, as much as I don't want Kyle Shanahan to win, I think Kyle Shanahan's going to win the game.
Yeah, I don't dislike that take. The problem is the 49ers are pretty one-dimensional on offense. That, I feel like, comes to get you in the playoffs. In the postseason, if it comes to get you, that's when it happens. But I hear what you're saying. It's just like a weird year for the Packers, like it was a weird year for the Patriots. They did pretty well, but they didn't look the same. They didn't look the way that they have in years past, not as commanding. So this is kind of a toss-up. I don't know who I would predict. I guess I'll go with San Francisco just because they looked a little bit more consistent. But I think this is a tough one.
I think you got to give San Francisco the edge just because they have a better defense.
Yeah, and defense.
Exactly
We know what they say about defense.
Yeah.
So,
although no matter what, technically it's another ex-Redskins coach in the Super Bowl. So
that's true. It's another one. We can't get it right. Did we make a prediction for the AFC?
we kind of did.
good question.
I did.
Did we?
I guess. Yeah, I'm saying Chiefs. So I'm saying Chiefs 49ers. I guess what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I guess I'll say Chiefs too. Although I think Alex makes great points about the Titans. I think Chiefs are the team.
Yeah, well, and I said still Chiefs. I just said it'll be close.
It'll be close. That's right.
I agree with Al. I think it'll be close, and the Titans will play well. But I think it's just they can't keep it up. So
now it's going to be Titans Packers.
Because we said this, it'll be Titans Packers, but
almost guaranteed. Okay, awesome. Any other lingering thoughts about the stuff we discussed tonight, guys? We had new hires. We had draft stuff. We had Trent and his illegal dogfighting ring. We had playoffs.
Don't get us in trouble there, Sean. No one actually said he has one. Just that we hope.
You're right. Alleged potential.
It maybe someone else is running the silverback bully gang. Maybe there's another silverback out there.
Yeah,
it's possible, people. No, I mean, in terms of Redskins stuff, I guess I would just repeat that everybody just give Ron Rivera a chance.
Yeah.
Who cares? He wants to bring every warm body from Carolina. Fine. By the way, Carolina did get to a Super Bowl. Let's not forget that they had some awesome defenses there. Every team has their ups and downs. Unless your name is the New England Patriots, every team goes through ups and downs. Ron Rivera's a pretty good coach. Mm-hmm. And he's running everything, but who's the buffoon that was running things before? Isn't this better? Better than what we had? Isn't this closer to a real, legitimate organization?
It literally has to be closer. It can't possibly be farther away.
There's a new Bang Bang Redskins cartoon out. If you guys haven't seen it, I'd recommend it. This is Dan Snyder. If you haven't seen this, it came out
Monday, I think.
Monday, yeah. Dan Snyder opens up the back door to presumably Redskins Park in an alley, tosses Bruce Allen into the alley, and Bruce pleads his case, and Dan just shuts him down completely. And then Bruce is laying there, and then the door opens again, and Greg Manusky goes flying out. And then the assistant coaches and the training staff are thrown out in trash cans. And then a big commercial trash truck comes up and throws them all in the trash truck and drives away. It's the greatest thing. It must hurt those guys to actually paint Dan Snyder in a good light. But
right. Yeah.
Well, I think they're still trying to make him a little negative. My only last thought I want to mention, and Steve kind of helped set this up, we are going to have somebody at the East-West Shrine game.
Oh, yeah.
Which is this weekend. So one of our writers, are we calling him by his alias still?
Yeah, his name is No One from Tampa.
But he's got to use his real name when he's there. That's the weird thing. So...
Well, no, his real name, his birth certificate name is Tampa, No One. I've seen his driver's license.
Yeah, so he's going to be down there actually at the East-West game. He's going to get a couple interviews and stuff like that. So that'll be cool.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So everybody stay tuned for that. And many more great things to come, obviously. Until then, we will let you guys go, but we'll be back with you for a new episode on Wednesday of next week. So take care. Bye-bye. Cut.
In 1957, Laika became the first animal to orbit Earth. What kind of animal was Laika?
What is the only team in the Big Four North American sports leagues which shares its name with one of the Avengers?
And here's one more question for you. Are you the type of person who enjoys playing trivia games, learning new things, and having a bit of fun along the way?
If you are, or if you just want to find out the answers to those other questions, then our podcast, Quiz and Hers, might be right up your alley.
Each week, one of us writes new trivia questions for the other person, covering everything from science to history to pop culture to sports.
And every question in a game relates to some theme, like Game of Thrones,
internet memes,
sandwiches,
or animals in space.
Some of the themes make more sense than others.
So if you like trivia, learning, or real couples testing each other's knowledge and patience, check out our podcast, Quiz and Hers, part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network.
Quiz and Hers, the trivia podcast where we test each other's knowledge and the strength of our relationship.